So today we're at the Enterprise Alliance conference here in Cape Town, and I'm joined by Christy Hunter-Chapman from Empanda, and I know you do some amazing stuff in the people space and trying to get people upskilled for the future, particularly around technology and digital transformation as well. So I wanted to, well, I've got you here and you can't get away. I'll keep you with the nice background of the fish here. Just wanted to ask you what your thoughts are really around leadership's role in digital transformation. You know, with all the change and the rapidness and that confusing, what are you seeing from leaders? How agile are they? Are they moving into this space nicely?
So, I mean, leadership is absolutely crucial, isn't it, to any act of change, and digital transformation is exactly that. And so, change and the kind of leadership that it requires is something that it's worth thinking about almost as you evolve through the life cycle. I think that one of the first things that a leader needs to do is need to sort of own the understanding of the amount of energy and effort that is required by a digital transformation program, and consider, why am I doing this? You know, do I have a clear understanding? Is it because I've got old assets that are not fit for purpose and I want to reduce cost, or is it because there's a beautiful new capability that I want to build? And what's the return on investment that I'm going to get out of this? And how do I tell a compelling story that is actually going to encourage people to join and to be ready to understand that defining that story and being consistent about telling it and evolving it as it tends to evolve is a responsibility that takes time and that needs to be owned internally within the business. And I think quite often what we see is people going, oh gosh, you know, I'm not sure that I have the necessary IT skills and capabilities for this, and so I'm going to bring in an external service provider, which you can do. There are important skills out there, but most importantly, you need to make sure that you have the team and the capabilities internally that you need in order to deliver the leadership and the guidance.
What message is that giving? So when you bring in an external consultant to lead the program, you know, what message does that give to the staff around the change?
I think it can be quite frightening, because people begin to wonder, you know, whether that's because I don't have the skills that I need for the future. You know, am I going to be invested in, and am I going to go on the journey? And what are you going to do to my part of the business? Are you going to respect my leadership and my responsibility for owning this part of the business? So it's really important that you have an open dialogue right from the outset. And I think that one of the key things for our top leaders, the ones that are sponsoring, is that their responsibility is actually to be enabling the leadership of others, so that this builds a cascade through the organisation, but also into any external service providers, so that they are able to lead effectively too. And quite often we start to see some strange and unusual behaviours. You know, for example, I'm going to leave you with a deficit of information and compare you to 3 other service providers and see whether or not you can understand my business, but I'm not going to tell you what my business does. You know, when business knows its own business best, or you have a project manager that's a leader in their field who comes in and says, you know, this project, it's going to take you 2 years to do and it's going to cost you 2 billion. Well, I mean, that's, you know, I don't trust you, you're from an external service provider, and so I'm not going to believe you. I'm probably going to fire you and then try and contract someone saying it's going to take 1 year and $1 billion.
So what can leaders in organisations do to change themselves, or to work with the leadership team under them and enable them to take that process forward? How do they take that sort of first step? What things are available?
I think the first thing that you can do is understand that leadership is a real job, and that we've never really done a real job that doesn't take real time. And so we can understand that there's a cost in terms of our capacity and make ourselves available for that. And other people that we expect to deliver leadership to.
Step out that manager role, and leadership is a thing.
And then to start to look at the people involved and to understand that our ability to listen is absolutely critical, and that we need to listen even when people say things that we don't particularly want to hear. And that can be us hearing the thing that we don't want to hear, and it can be teams hearing from different spaces things that they didn't know and that they, you know, don't reflect how they would like the world to really be. And to take the time to consider those points that come in, and to really listen properly before going ahead.
That self-reflection just for me just doesn't happen enough. We're so busy and we just have to get on with it and get to the next thing, and it feels like sometimes there's this tick box of, okay, I've done that, and that ability to stop and just, how do I feel about this? How is my team feeling about that? You know, are there learning programs, are there things that, you know, courses that people can do that can help them to do that sort of stuff, and to stop and to think and like have clear action as to how they move forward?
I think definitely so, and you know, in terms of the kind of course that you're doing, what it's a good idea to do is to look at whether or not it's something that's going to work people as an individual, or whether it's the kind of intervention that's going to help your management team as a team. We've got a leadership offering that is an experience. It doesn't just tell people, you know, about leadership and give an individual practical exercise. It actually sort of enables practical work to be done in the business, the wider business, as you move through. And so in terms of driving motivation, it sort of focuses on building an adaptive leadership style rather than sort of tactical leadership, which you need. But when you're doing transformation, you need sort of the ability to break down silos and to think outside the box, and to really innovative and create beyond the boundaries that you normally feel are set for you. You need to have more lateral relationships in terms of with your team, with your peers, and in terms of sort of effective communication with more senior executive leadership. And it actually brokers the opportunity to have those conversations. So when looking for an intervention, I think it's a good idea to look for something that gives you a practical foundation that you can use to start.
Yeah, it's not just this theory. Yeah, and I know this because I talk about future fit. I share theory with people. I get them excited and get them to feel, but actually it's the step beyond that. How do they take that into the organisation beyond the theory, and how do you keep them going?
Yeah.
Christy, fantastic. Thank you so much for taking the time out. I know you're busy, you want to go and see the conference, but lovely for you to take the time.
Complete pleasure. Thank you.
Pleasure.